it back the next day, or else digging ditches to nowhere fast, because a man with a double-barreled shotgun, sunglasses, a wide-brimmed hat, and a stone-cold stare told him that was all he was good for. He was not yet 30, was never married, and had no children. But one glance in the mirror showed a man who seemed older, his skin baked brown by the sun and further aged by being behind bars the rest of the time. A world war, coupled with the brutal experience of losing one's liberty, had left their indelible marks on him. These two experiences had successfully robbed him of the remainder of his youth, but hardened him in ways that might at some point work out in his favor. His hair had been long going into prison. On the first day they had it cut army short. Then he tried to grow a beard. They shaved that off too. They said something about lice and hiding places for contraband. He vowed never to cut his hair again, or at least to go as long as possible without doing so. It was a small thing, to be sure. He had started out life concentrated only on achieving large goals. Now he was focused on just getting by. The impossibly difficult ambitions had been driven from him. On the other hand, the mundane seemed reasonably doable for Archer. He ducked his head and swept off his fedora to avoid colliding with the ceiling of the rickety vehicle. The bus doors closed with a hiss and a thud, and he walked down the center aisle, a suddenly free man looking for unencumbered space. The rocking bus was surprisingly full. Well, perhaps not surprisingly. He assumed this mode of transport was the only way to get around. This was not the sort of land where they built airfields or train depots, and those black ribbons of state highways never seemed to get rolled out in these places. It was the sort of area where folks did not own a vehicle that could travel more than 50 miles at any given time. Nor did the folks driving said vehicles ever want to go that far anyway. They might fall off the edge of the earth. The other passengers looked as bedraggled as he, perhaps more so. Maybe they'd been behind their own sorts of bars that day, while he was leaving his. They were all dressed in pre-war clothes, or close to it, with dirty nails, raw eyes, hungry looks, and not even a glimmer of hope in the bunch. That surprised him, since they were now a few years removed from a wondrous global victory, and things were settling down. But then again, victory did not mean that prosperity had suddenly rained down upon all parts of the country. Like anything else, some fared better than others. It seemed he was currently riding with the others. They all stared up at him with fear, or suspicion, or sometimes both running seamlessly together. He saw not one friendly expression in the crowd. Perhaps humankind had changed while he'd been away. Or then again, maybe it was the same as it had always been. He couldn't tell just yet. He hadn't gotten his land legs back. Archer spotted an empty seat next to an older man in threadbare overalls over a stained undershirt, a stubby straw hat perched in his lap, brogans the size of babies on his feet, and a large canvas bag clutched in one calloused hand. He had watched Archer bug-eyed for the whole time it took him to reach his seat. An instant before Archer's bottom hit the stained fabric of the chair, the other man let himself go wide, splaying out like a pot boiling over, forcing Archer to ride on the edge, and uncomfortably so. Still, he didn't mind. While his prison cell had been bigger than the space he was now occupying, he had shared it with 4 other men, and not a single one of them was going anywhere. But now I'm going somewhere. Joint stop? What's that? Asked Archer, eyeballing the man looking at him now. His seatmate's hair was going white, and his mustache and beard had already gone all the way there. You got on at the prison stop. Did I now? Yeah, you did. How long did you do in the can? Archer turned away and looked out the windshield into the painful glare of sunshine and the vast sky over the broad plains ahead that was unblemished by a single cloud. Long enough. Hey, you don't happen to have a smoke I can bum? You can't really borrow a smoke, now can you? And you can't smoke on here anyways. The hell you say? The man pointed to a handwritten sign on cardboard hanging overhead that said this very thing.